many guests who kind of started coming to Barista about 20 years back. Now they're coming with their kids. So that is a complete journey, and nobody transforms or touches that journey in India. And one very clear strategy is that we want to kind of showcase us as a brand which connects India.
Hello and welcome to India.com. I'm Himanshu Shekhar. It is said that a great conversation needs a great coffee. And my guest today is the man, or you can say the reason behind thousands of such great conversations and beautiful stories that brews across baristas in India. Please welcome Mr. Rajat Agrawal, the Chief Executive Officer of Barista India. Welcome, Rajat.
Thank you, Himanshu, for having me on board, and look forward to have a conversation today with you.
Great, Rajat, my first question to you would be, how do you make a great coffee?
So a great cup of coffee has been an expertise for the last 23 years now. We have been not just making great cup of coffee. The way we portray are that we have been pouring a great brewing happiness over the last 23 years, and that is what we do best even today. And that is what the precise reason for the guests to kind of come back to us on a very frequent basis.
Correct.
And that is the mantra for our success for the last 23 years.
And today we are sitting in Barista Diners, and coffee, people know about coffee and barista, they go together, and it's no secret. But Barista Diners, it's a new concept. Not new, but yeah, relatively new. So what was the idea behind Barista Diners, and how you think this business growing forward?
In 2017, we were sitting as a team, and in every business, you have to look at what kind of transformation which can happen to the existing set of business. And you also always have to look at various additional opportunities to grow the existing. So at that point of time, we were brainstorming what additional we can do to the existing set of barista, which at that point of time was also mushrooming well. And even today, we are opening our flagship, opening our cafes at a rapid pace. So that time in 2017-18, we were brainstorming as a team, and that we thought that why don't we do something which is food centric, because there is a big equity which we have created. Coffee and conversations go together, but how about a good food integration as part of our menu? And that's how we came up with an idea to look at starting and setting up a Barista Diner. So Barista Diner is again something where coffee is any which way the staple product which we do at Barista. But the idea is behind Diner is to look at a classic food composition which kind of even makes your experience much better along with coffee and the staple beverage.
So we are expecting more of biryanis also in Barista?
Not exactly biryanis, but yes, more continental menu. We are looking at a lot of fusion world cuisine which we do. We have a large varieties of pastas, large varieties of burgers, etc., which we do, which kind of keeps the frame into a casual dining concept. We're still not a fine dining concept under a Barista Diner, but it's a casual day dining which kind of caters to the all-day dining needs. But we have still not gone into the Indian way of positioning it. It's still a very classic continental positioning around the Barista Diner.
So, and if you talk about Barista, 2 years back, I was in Muzaffarpur, and we had a barista there as well. So I was pleasantly surprised in a little tier 2, not even tier 2, tier 3 or maybe probably tier 4 town. So are you also now planning to further penetrate into those market and those little towns? Probably you can say somebody in a little town in Maharashtra, Bihar and all. So is there any specific plan?
Very rightly put together, Himanshu. So the way I have seen in the last 3-4 years of our growth, and I have been kind of talking in most of the interviews as well, that most of our growth is happening in the metro and non-metro, because what has happened is that the appetite to spend in those regions today is at par to what the spending pattern is there in the metros today. There is a certain set of TG who wants to spend, and there are very few avenues to spend, which is why the penetration, the consumption story in some of these tier 2, tier 3 towns are also increasing at a rapid pace, and that is the market which we have capitalized really well, where we have actually penetrated in deep parts of Punjab. Just to give you an example, Muzaffarpur is a tall town in Bihar. We have about 8-9 stores now in Patna. So that belt itself, nobody 5 years back would have thought that we'll have 10 stores in Patna, and there are 2 more in pipeline. So that is how we have grown. Punjab as a belt, we have about 90 stores which are operational in Punjab. In each of the smaller towns in Punjab, we are already operational, and we are growing well. The kind of consumers which we get on a day-to-day basis, and there are so many queries which we get in opening in Punjab today. To open in Punjab is something I need to think that where I need to open, because I have already kind of covered most of the touch points, and that's how the growth story has been. So last 3-4 years, if I were to tell you, which includes a fair bit of COVID as well, we have opened almost 100 stores, and out of that 70% would have been in the tier 2, tier 3 towns,
Okay, great.
apart from the metros. So that is where the non-metros are maturing. That is where a big brand is very aspirational.
lot of
there.
aspirational crowd
Yes.
coming into
A lot
Barista.
of
or-
aspirational crowd coming in, and also what has happened is thanks to the digital era, where people are very educated today.
Yeah, yeah.
10 years back, going to a barista, asking a cappuccino, they were only 90% of the guests won't even know what a. They would generally come and ask for a cold coffee or a hot coffee.
Correct,
Today, if you were
correct.
to see, the scenario has completely changed.
They
Today, people
understand.
are asking about their Americanos. People are asking about their pour overs. They want to indulge in the French press.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of learning, and thanks to the digitization and thanks to how the people are traveling globally now.
Correct. So, my question, another, I will probably ask more about Barista diners. So, this is going to be right now, it's a typical metro thing as of now. Or have you expanded
So
to
we have
tier 2?
expanded fair bit in Punjab as well. Punjab, as I said, has been the very well penetrated market for us. So we have grown well in the Punjab area, and even today we continue to grow well in that area. So we have 3 stores in Punjab, which are under the diner format. There is one in Noida currently,
Okay.
one in Gurgaon, and there is one in Jaipur. So these are the 6 outlets which we operate under the diner format, and there is a definitive push now because the COVID is any which way is already over now, and we are any which way looking the new year 2023 planning. So the idea is to kind of grow and mushroom this format and kind of stabilize it and kind of grow it on the numbers as well.
Sure.
So that is something which is any which way is our strategy to look
So,
at growing the diner.
Rajat, now that you touched about COVID, I want to ask how difficult was the COVID and with stores completely coming to a grinding, entire country came to, our world came to a grinding halt, you can say. And a lot of people migrated and all. So my first question is, how did you manage to keep the workforce and bring back the workforce with you can say a revigored passion and commitment, and then again I think it's on an upward growth that you guys are moving forward, and so can just tell us more about it.
So to be honest, when this happened, which is I still remember the days in March 20, early 20, when this kind of triggered, and that point of time, nobody had a clue what to do. Everybody was locked in the house. Nobody was allowed to move. The biggest issue was whatever inventory we had in the store was in the store, because it was a sudden lockdown which happened, and there was no measures you would have taken to at least get the food sorted at the store. So there was, like, people had no clue what's happening. So initial 20 days was just understanding that what has happened, right? Because nobody in the business community will ever think that the revenue cycle will go down to zero and you have a certain cost to manage. And that time, more than the cost, it was more to do with that what exactly has happened and what, and there is no long term planning you can do at that point of time, because you were so unsure. There was so much of ruckus which was
Nobody
happening
knew.
around the country, that and you were seeing news in and around of people dying, so many casualties happening. So there was so much of uncertainty. To cost was only one piece of the worry. It was more to do with how do we keep our employees together? How do we make our employees be safe? How do we kind of take care of those? So the initial 1 or 2 months was more in terms of managing the crowd, and also managing our employees as well. So what we did right was, at that point of time, we came out with a solution that at that point of time when things go bad, everybody is in the need of money. And what we did well as a brand, that we never got into like removing people or cut shorting the number of employees which we had. We did a bit of payroll rationalization, so that at least everybody at a certain level,
I think
we were able to rationalize the payrolls.
that was the most
and the
wisest thing to
and
do.
the
probably.
employees also appreciated that a lot, so that at least they are still intact and they were able to kind of get a few cash flows happening to them. Also, what we did at that point of time, we were able to manage our rentals well, because there are, if I were to kind of make you understand the business economics, there are 2 cost centers which are the biggest in our ecosystem. One is our payroll, the second is our rentals. If you are able to manage these 2 well, you will always be able to kind of run a successful business.
So you being a CFO and a finance guy all through, so a Kanpur boy to ENY and to Thornton Grant to the CFO and now CEO of Barista, how are you seeing your professional career moving forward?
It has been a roller coaster ride, to be honest. There have been over the last 4, 5 years, 6 years of the way I have been involved in this business. 8 years back, I joined this organization, and the way I joined this organization, that my existing organization took over this business in 2014 from the last owners. and I was involved largely as part of the post-deal integration, looking at stabilizing the processes. This business was never in mind, and there was no clue of what will happen in the next 6-7 years. But the way it progressed, that I got so involved on some of the aspects of the business, and our promoters wanted me to kind of get involved more on the business aspects, looking at day-to-day business, looking at managing the team. It so happened that the role transformed from being a finance guy to looking at few processes at time, and then over the last 3-4 years, a very larger 360-degree role where I've been kind of now involved in terms of looking the end-to-end business, right side, from looking at operations, looking at business development, looking at supply chain management, looking at IT strategies, looking at HR. So that all completely unfolded under my umbrella, and that's how the role progressed. So when this year in May, I officially became the CEO of the business.
And how is that feeling? CEO Barista India.
Still sinking in. I think it's a great brand, 22 years of legacy, and to get that to be the CEO of the business, I still feel the brand recall which we have. I don't think that many of the brands can get the kind of brand recall we have. Anywhere we go, and if you were to give a Barista card, everybody knows what Barista is. So that is the kind of brand equity which has got created in the last 23 years, and it's a proud feeling. To be honest, it's a big responsibility as well, to carry the brand well and to really shoulder the responsibilities well.
So I have one more question here. Now that a lot of new players are also coming in, which in itself is an encouraging sign, and a lot of existing players, and there are giants like Starbucks and all as well. So what are the plans? If I ask what Barista plans to do to stay on top of the competition, is there any specific thing, or you want the core values of like value and quality and all that stuff? So please tell us more about it.
See, today quality is something which is a given, right? If the consumer is walking into you, any brand you go in who has to kind of scale big, has to any which ways focus on a certain level of consistent product, and that is something which has been a clear focus for us as well. Maintaining a team which kind of delivers the expectations of the consumers, which is ever growing. Today, consumer is king. He can actually make you, he can break you. Yes. So today, that's the era which we live in. We are living in a digital era. A small complaint can go haywire, and that's how we have to kind of, as a brand, look at addressing that and being very proactive in terms of addressing any escalations which come in, which we have been able to do successfully over the last 6-7 years of us managing the business. If I were to tell you in terms of growth story and talk about what the competition is, we have grown from about 130-40 stores way back in 2014 to about 350 odd stores. Okay, we are the second largest coffee chain in India today by the number of stores, and largest in Sri Lanka. We have about 18 stores in Sri Lanka.
Largest in Sri
Lanka. And the way we see the next 2 years, we are very sure that we'll be targeting almost about 500, close to 500 stores as a network, and that is something
which is my headline probably for today. So Rajat, one more question. We are in that age of social media and all, Twitter, Facebook, and a lot of things. So is there any specific strategy or plan probably to strengthen that connect with youth and all, something that you guys are looking forward to?
See, the way we are strategizing in, and now that 2023 is coming in, we are actually sitting on the drawing tables and putting our strategies together for the next 4-5 years. And one very clear strategy is that we want to kind of showcase us as a brand which connects India. It's about 23 years of connecting India. Right. It's about 23 years of pouring happiness, brewing happiness. Yeah. Every conversations which people do here kind of lead to a certain level of emotional moment, and there is a lot of emotional connect, and that is how we want to connect to our consumers today. And that essentially entails a large euphoria of people, maybe some millennials as well, Gen Z as well.
A lot of meetings happen over a coffee.
Meeting over a coffee, and we are the enablers. So today, if I were to tell you a small story, there are still many guests who kind of started coming to Barista about 20 years back. Now they're coming with their kids. So that is a complete journey, and nobody transforms or touches that journey in India except Barista, and nobody can claim that, and that is the claim which we want to kind of showcase more and more to strengthen that connect.
Great. Thank you for your time, Rajat. It was a pleasure and lovely talking to you. Wish you and Barista Diners all the best, and thank you.
Thanks, Himanshu.
Thank you.